A Russian website has stolen 297 of my exclusive Patreon content posts, and they've probably stolen yours too. So here's a fun little update from the front lines of being an online content creator in 2025. There's a website called kimono.su. It's Russian, it's vile, and it currently hosts 297 posts taken directly from my Patreon. That's right, nearly 300 pieces of content, photos, videos, bonus material, behind the scenes stuff, all scraped and dumped without permission and flung into some bizarre free-for-all archive surrounded by low-grade hentai. And now here's where it gets even crazier, because I'm not alone. Countless small creators have been hit, including many I know personally, and I know because I checked. Cosplayers, musicians, video essayists, artists and podcasters. If you've got a Patreon and you make anything worth seeing, chances are you're on there too. So I remembered how much I really like money, and discussing this might yield some juicy, digestible content. Therefore, for your entertainment, let's expose the scourge of the 7 cyber seas. I am Lady Decade. If you've not seen me before, hit that subscribe button, as it's time to discuss how those sneaky fucking Russians have made yet another international incursion, but this time directly into our wallets. So, my Patreon backlog has been compromised, and I found out about this all in probably the worst way imaginable, because one of my best friends Googled me and stumbled across a page that made their stomach drop. A Russian website called kimono.su that has scraped nearly 300 of my Patreon posts and dumped them online without a second thought. Welcome to the wonderful world of online piracy in 2025. Yarr! Speaking of pirates, side note, how brilliant is Pirates Yakuza? Easily one of my favourite games that I've played this year. And if you haven't tried it yet, you can grab it for 42% off using my discount link below. Or, if turn-based adventures are more your thing, Expedition 33 is sitting at 41% off too. There's up to 90% off of thousands of games, and every purchase through my link helps support what I do here, so it's a win-win. Kimono.su is essentially a glorified content scraper dressed up like some community hub, but functioning more like a digital landfill site. Its whole purpose is to steal paywalled content from creators, mostly Patreon, but it scrapes from other sites too and dumps it online for anyone to browse for free, completely unfiltered. Now, that .su domain, it's not a typo. That's the old country code for the Soviet Union. Yes, the one that hasn't officially existed since the early 90s, except, well, for Transnistria. They still like it and pretend it never ended. .su is still being used today by Russian-based groups who want to run websites completely out of reach of Western law enforcement. You want a site that can host stolen content with no fear of takedowns, no DMCA compliance, and no international cooperation? Just park it in a post-Soviet digital black hole. Simples. And the way it works is both sneaky and depressingly effective. When someone subscribes to a Patreon, they get access through what's called an API token. It's a digital key, basically, that gives them private access to paid posts. Now, some users, whether out of malice, spite, or pure entitlement, upload these keys directly to Kimono. Others get hacked, and sometimes it's just a case of people reusing the same password across multiple sites and getting breached without ever realising. Either way, once Kimono gets a hold of a working token, they do the rest. Wankers. The site isn't curated, it's automated, so as soon as it has access to your page, it starts scraping. All of it. Every post, every image, every scheduled update, even stuff that hasn't gone live yet. Entire backlogs hoovered up and catalogued into neat little folders for people to browse like they're shopping. And what's even crazier is that there's no login, no moderation, no appeals process, no accountability. If your content shows up there, it stays there indefinitely. Doesn't matter if you're a gaming YouTuber, a cosplayer, or a podcaster, you don't get asked and you don't even get told. You just wake up one day, find out that your work is being dumped on a server in Russia, and there's nothing that you can do about it, apart from feeling baffled and violated. Now, let's be absolutely clear, because in this instance, no one is sticking it to the man here. No one's hacking into some Silicon Valley war chest. They're not siphoning off profits from a billion-dollar media conglomerate. What Kimono.su facilitates is something much more cowardly than that. It's taking entire libraries of work wholesale from individuals, from sole traders, from many people who are already surviving on the edge of a very precarious industry. It's people like me, creators working from home studios, juggling content creation with stuff like parenting or side jobs or school runs and endless admin. People who don't have legal teams or marketing departments or PR buffers, just a handful of loyal supporters who keep the lights on through goodwill and trust. So this isn't Spotify, it's not Netflix, there's no boardroom, just regular human beings making art and making videos and stories for an audience that actually cares, and more importantly, for an audience that chose to support them. Because Patreon isn't a streaming service. You don't subscribe for access to some massive back catalogue or get exclusive rights to timed releases. Most of the time, it's about community. It's about backing someone whose work you believe in. The content is just a thank you, a little bit extra to say, I appreciate you. A behind the scenes photo here, an early video there. Sometimes it's rough, sometimes it's personal. It's not mass produced, polished content made for resale. It's intimate, bespoke, and often posted in real time. Which is why, to me at least, this kind of piracy is completely grotesque. When you take something like that and dump it onto a sleazy piracy website, you're not just breaking a paywall, you're undermining a relationship. You're saying that trust doesn't matter, that effort doesn't matter, that the time spent creating something specifically for people who chose to support it was wasted. Kimono.su has draped themselves in language about archiving and access, as if they're preserving art for posterity, but they're not. They're encouraging you to take what was never meant for you. They're turning private exchanges into public property and pretending it's somehow for the greater good. But there's no Robin Hood in this story, no corporate tyrant getting dethroned, just a bunch of independent creators quietly losing the one place they could speak directly to their audience without fear of being drowned out by algorithms, AI sludge, or faceless content farms. And just when you think it couldn't get more degrading, Kimono.su delivers an extra slap in the face. How, you ask? Well, their entire website is absolutely drenched in corn. And I'm not talking about a couple of spicy art packs tucked away in a corner. I mean, it's everywhere. The front page, the side menus, the thumbnails, whole categories of bootlegged adult material shoved next to your posts like it's all one big glorious buffet of stolen flesh and fan service. So, now my work, non-sexual, gaming-focused, nostalgia-driven cosplay and video content gets shoved right between 3D smut dumps and anime inflection comics and some other stuff that's brilliant. Really proud moment in my career, that one. Let's be honest, it's incredibly uncomfortable, especially for women, especially in cosplay, and especially when you've gone to great lengths to draw a clear line between what you make and what people assume. And worse still, that assumption travels, it leaks out. People who don't know your work stumble across it in that setting and start making judgments based on that context. And before anyone chimes in with the usual, well, that's just the internet nonsense, let's be very clear. Even NSFW creators hate this site because it doesn't distinguish, it doesn't respect boundaries, and it doesn't reflect anyone's intent. Your work just gets thrown into this grim soup of pirated material with zero curation and zero consent. There's something uniquely violating about that. Not just that my content was taken, but that it was taken into that environment. That I was made to exist somewhere that I never chose, next to things that I never consented to, and that people behind the site genuinely couldn't give any less of a fuck. And what's worse is that this is about the very specific problem of Russian-based operators exploiting a deliberately unregulated corner of the internet to screw over the rest of us. Because they can, and because no one's going to stop them. Kimono.su is hosted in Russia, and that's not some coincidence, it's not incidental, it's a part of their business model. Russia has effectively become one of the last remaining safe havens for piracy to take place on a massive industrialised scale, and it's not just this one site, it's a pattern. Torrent hubs, streaming rips, cracked software, you name it. When companies or creators in the West try to file legal action, the site owners ghost them. Emails will go unanswered, DMCA takedowns are ignored, international treaties, laughable. Russia's digital infrastructure doesn't just allow piracy, it welcomes it, especially when the victims are outside of their borders. So, can anything be done about this at all? Well, try taking some legal action against Kimono.su and see what happens. You'll hit a brick wall before you even get out of the driveway. Even Patreon can't really do anything. They can issue takedown notices until they're blue in the face, but there will be no enforcement, no cooperation, just a load of silence. It's an operation designed to thrive in a geopolitical loophole. These aren't hackers, they're not activists or whistleblowers fighting for digital freedom, they're just digital rats and opportunists who know they're untouchable, sitting behind the protection of a government that's made it quite clear that it has no interest in playing by the same rules as everyone else. And to be blunt, Russia's refusal to engage with global norms is what allows this entire shady economy to flourish. So it's not just that there's no enforcement, it's that the absence of enforcement is the point. For creators, that means the rules that we operate under, where we carefully respect and to try our best to uphold, jumping through endless hoops to avoid strikes or demonetization, mean absolutely nothing to the people running that site. And so while I'm not going to sit here and generalize about all Russians, I am going to say this. The Russian state has created, whether deliberately or through total apathy, a haven for this sort of behaviour. And creators like me, normal, everyday people just trying to make a living through honest work, are the ones paying the price. We're not up against some faceless algorithm, we're up against a system that was designed from the ground up to protect pirates and not creators. And here's the really fun part, the timing. This entire piracy mess with Kimono.su isn't just happening in a vacuum, it's unfolding at the exact same time that AI-generated content farms are absolutely flooding YouTube and the wider internet. If you're a creator, you already know what I'm talking about. Faceless channels are churning out hundreds of videos a week, half-baked gaming lore, machine-narrated top 10s, weirdly stitched together commentary featuring synthetic voices. It's not just about making good content, it's become a digital gruel. And the algorithm loves it. Because the platforms we rely on, so YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, etc., 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 aren't set up to promote quality anymore. They reward volume. They reward consistency, quantity, repetition, and reaction videos. And you can spend days scripting, recording, editing, animating, uploading, and promoting a piece that you're really proud of, only to watch it get trampled by the sheer amount of slop the platforms are now covered in. Meanwhile, genuine creators, real people with real ideas, actual production values, and something worth saying are getting buried under a landslide of noise. Visibility is down, CPMs are down, views are throttled unless you're churning out content like a factory. And the audience, half of them can't even tell anymore if what they're watching was made by a person or scraped together by ChatGPT and an editing bot. For the record, the last two paragraphs were indeed written by ChatGPT. So while we're already drowning in AI sludge, constantly tweaking thumbnails, praying for impressions, and playing an increasingly rigged game just to keep our channels afloat, that's when the piracy hits too. That's when someone somewhere in a server block in Russia decides to take the one thing we had left, our direct relationship with our audience, and try to smash it. Because that's what Patreon was supposed to be, a safe space and a buffer and a way for creators to sidestep the algorithmic hellscape and build a small, loyal supporter base that didn't rely on clicks and virality. You support me and I make things for you. No middleman, just the creator and their community. But it appears that even that's no longer safe. Even that has been hijacked, and not by machines this time, but by real people with real intent who saw what little we had left and decided to take it away anyway. So now it's not just a battle against the algorithm, it's not just AI flooding every feed and burying real creators, now we have to worry about the Russians too! It's exhausting! But here's the thing, we do keep creating. Despite all this, because there are still people who value our work and people who do notice the difference, and those people are the reason we haven't all just packed it in and let the robots take over. Well, not yet anyway. And let's be real, I'm not making this video because I think the kind of person who uses Kimono.su is suddenly going to grow a conscience and put their trousers back on and delete their bookmarks. Those people were never here to support any of the creators that they're watching. They were never interested in the exchange. They just wanted the content without the commitment. They were never going to pledge anything to anyone, and frankly, I don't expect them to start now. No. This video is here for the people who do care, the ones who do back artists, writers, cosplayers, YouTubers, musicians, the ones who have ever supported someone through Patreon, YouTube memberships, or any other platform that lets creators connect directly with their audiences. It's for the people who believe in that system and maybe didn't realise just how fragile it really is. Because this isn't just some annoying side issue. This is what we're up against now. This is piracy on a mass scale, facilitated by a faceless site that sees no difference between heartfelt content and a spreadsheet. It doesn't care about the people who made it, it doesn't care about the people it was made for, it just scrapes, uploads, and buries. Effort stripped of context, intimacy dumped onto a sleazy archive site like a museum of things that no one paid for. And that's the part that stings a bit. Because none of this Patreon content was ever meant to be a part of a production line, it wasn't polished and wasn't packaged for retail. It was never some premium subscription, experience or pay-to-win upgrade. It was personal, handcrafted, and a thank you to people who genuinely chose to support the work that we do. And now it's being treated like smuggled contraband, catalogued by thieves and downloaded by freeloaders. And all of this is happening on top of everything else that's already made this the hardest time to be a creator in recent memory, and I'm not going to sit here moaning about this forever. This isn't a sob story. This is just the reality of being a creator in 2025. It can be bleak, it can be exhausting, and now, thanks to sites like Kimono.su, it's also invasive in even more ways than it used to be. But I will say this, if there's a creator out there whose work you genuinely value, whether that's me or someone else entirely, and you've got the means to support them in the proper way, then do it. Not out of pity, not because they're on the verge of collapse, but because you want to see that kind of content to continue to exist in a world that's becoming increasingly hostile to anything handmade, thoughtful, or original. That support, no matter how small, doesn't just fund another post or unlock another tier. It's a signal. It says, this matters, I care that a real person made this. And right now, that kind of backing is the only thing standing between creators and total erasure, whether from algorithms, AI, or international piracy rings scraping our work into oblivion. And as for Kimono.su, it's a dump. A digital landfill dressed up in a faux community language. A graveyard of stolen efforts, stripped of context, meaning or value. And the people that use it, they can keep telling themselves they're archiving or preserving or whatever other Reddit tier nonsense helps them to sleep at night. But deep down, they know what they're doing, and it says more about them, their entitlement, their laziness, their complete disregard for human effort than it ever will about the people they're pirating. If that makes you want to support someone properly, great. If not, at least you now know what's going on and who's helping ruin the internet for the rest of us. Well, I know most of my supporters on Patreon and through YouTube memberships are there to help ensure that I can keep making content. I'm considering adding some physical rewards soon as a little extra, just to help offset situations like this. But for now, I will keep adding to my behind-the-scenes cosplay library, continuing my Discord voice calls with all of you and more. Whether you're snapping up cheap games through my affiliate links or going full legend by backing me on YouTube memberships or Patreon, thank you. Sincerely, thank you. You're basically funding this channel's continued existence. One bargain and one bonus post at a time, and I'll see you all in the next video. Mwah.